Tiger Woods is leaving the country.
Down my phone, and all of a sudden, boom.
Another crash, a second DUI, and now he's headed to international rehab.
Tiger Woods got into another accident.
I'm going to tell you why those jokes are symptoms of a much deeper problem by drawing on my own personal experience with addiction. Having lived it, having seen those rooms firsthand, I know why the obvious solutions people scream at the TV
You're a billionaire, bro. You can afford car service.
aren't as simple as you think. Plus, the robot ump finally walked one off. MLB just had its first game-ending ABS overturn, and I'm going to tell you why I love it, and you should too. And NCAA Inflategate.
Follow the bouncing ball.
The NCAA has a bouncy, crap-ass, big balls problem, and it's ruining the world's favorite tournament. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the show, people. Welcome to the show.
Tricky Guy Sports.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. It's your host, Brent Bilski, a.k.a. Double B, or the 110 Soldier. And today, heartbreaking cycle continues for the world's greatest golfer, Tiger Woods. Fourth related car incident, second DUI, forcing him now to leave the country to try to rehab his life. On March 27th, in case you missed it, Tiger Woods clipped a truck and rolled his Land Rover in Florida. He climbed out of the passenger window of a flipped SUV again, and he blew a triple O for his alcohol content, but the arrest affidavit paints the full picture. He had bloodshot eyes, dilated pupils, lethargic movements, and police found 2 hydrocodone pills in his pocket that he admitted he took that day. Again, the exact drug from his 2017 DUI, and this isn't a one-off. This is his third major high-speed incident involving impairment since 2009, from Thanksgiving fire hydrant to the 87-mile-per-hour rollover in California. The blueprint is the same, and today a judge granted him permission to leave the United States for an undisclosed international treatment facility. He's officially declined the 2027 Ryder Cup captaincy and has stepped away from golf indefinitely. This isn't a golf break. It's a total withdrawal from public life to try to save his own life.
Whatever's wrong with you is no little thing.
And I gotta say this, before I even get into Tiger, I've lived this.
I know the pain.
Exact same drug, exact same kind of problem. And I'm almost 5 years clean now. Now, I'm not Tiger. I didn't have his career, and my path to my addiction was different. I didn't have a doctor's note, but I was an athlete, I was an addict, and I lost a huge chunk of my life to this.
You stole my life.
And because I've sat in those rooms and I've felt that beast, I think I can see this in a way that most of the common sense crowd misses. So today I'm going to break down the 2 biggest myths I hear people scream about with a guy like Tiger crashing, which is, why doesn't he just hire a driver?
You're a billionaire, bro. You can afford car service.
And why won't he quit for his family or his kids? I'm going to explain why these obvious solutions aren't as obvious as you think they be. So let's talk about Tiger, athletes, addiction, and why this keeps happening.
Why don't you just quit?
Yeah, quit.
The first part we need to start putting together is understanding the athlete and the addict are a mirror. This is something most people don't realize, because every time an athlete spirals, whether it's Tiger, whether it's Mantle, whether it's Ruth back in the day, Johnny Manziel, Jordan Gambling, now recently Puka Nacua, whoever, people are shocked. I'm not. I never have been. Now, this doesn't mean that athletes will become addicts, but the blueprint is there, and it's painfully obvious in my opinion, because if you really understand what it takes to become great, you would realize these athletes are wired like addicts.
You always have to win.
The same fixation that makes you a GOAT is the same fixation that could make you a victim to a substance. It's the same engine, it's just a different fuel. This is something, it's all you do.
Practice, practice, practice.
You obsess, you crave, you fixate. You do it when you're happy. You do it when you're miserable. You do it to escape. But you also do it to feel something, especially the high of a win.
Yeah, bro, I am addicted. I'm addicted to the high that I get from them.
Man, being great and making everyone proud and love you for something you worked hard on and you complete it is such a rush, man. It is just a feeling that is hard to describe. And so you obsess, you fixate, you crave, you go for it. It's all you think about. But that's not normal behavior. That's dependency.
My mentality was to go out and win.
at any cost.
The only difference is one of those will get you a Hall of Fame career and the other will get you a problem. And so a lot of times we don't see it because with the athlete, they look good, they're successful, they're in great shape, and the other is a failure. But it's a mixture of the same behavior, same wiring, different outlet. And one day for all of them, it will come where that supply gets cut off and you have to find an outlet for it, or else you're going to do something very similar to what's happened to Tiger.
Yeah. And you're addicted to winning.
Now let's get into the parts that are hard for us to understand because only he and other huge celebrities with this problem would know. The first one with Tiger, man, this guy is in for a rough road having a pain pill problem because he's going to need to manage his physical pain.
I'm an old broken down piece of meat.
I don't think most people realize Tiger's post-heyday injury list is basically combining like a boxer with a fullback from the NFL in the 1970s. This guy, over the last 10, 20 years, has had 7 back surgeries, including a full spinal fusion that turned his lower back into basically a single block of bone.
Doctor said I need a backiotomy.
Tiger has had over 20 leg operations. He's had a fused ankle, which he even said in that last arrest seizes up just from the act of walking. He had rod, screws, pins in that one leg. That leg was so bad after that crash, they were really worried about amputation.
Want me to cut that leg off?
They had to save that leg from amputation with rods, screws, and pins. He's had multiple knee reconstructions. He's tore his Achilles. And again, that spine has basically been rebuilt.
My back!
My neck and my back. Oh!
I don't even know how people are confused how he could get into a pain pill problem when this guy is in constant pain. And so this really leads him into a unique and terrible choice or trap, really, because it might have something to do with the partying, but for a lot of this, he needs all this to function. Like, this is like when a sex addict or a food addict, how do you exist with something that you need? I mean, this poor guy, ankle seizes up when he walks. His back is completely deteriorating. His legs and knees, it is a slow, degrading, painful daily life that is usually reserved for like a wrestler from the 80s.
I'm an old broken down piece of meat.
The pain amount and what he's gone through is not usual for a golfer. And so at a certain point, the pills aren't even for a high anymore, man. They're just there to get you to zero so Tiger can stand up. So it gets down to a real question here. How does Tiger move on without them? Because now he's going to have to choose between a pain that will control his life or dealing with the pain in a way that could take control of his life. That's not a choice, man. That's a trap. And I don't know how specifically Tiger will be able to deal with this.
I need my pills.
Then we got to throw in another big problem, the enablement of the money and the fame. Man, this leads to such a predictable pattern with the money and the fame. And if you don't believe me, I'll show you some recent examples, man. Go see Michael Jackson or Matthew Perry. Whether it's a doctor or a dealer, man, it's the same thing. They're all human, and some will fall to one of the two categories, either greed or need.
Make money, money, make money.
Doctors and dealers are human too, man. Some will fall to greed and use the reasoning of like, well, hey, somebody's going to make money from this. I need the money. I can justify why I should have the money. And so they'll continue to enable the celebrity addict. Or worse, need, which it's sometimes, man, it's just cool to know a famous person. It is cool, whether they admit it or not, for a doctor or a dealer to have a celebrity client.
I know him.
Whether it's Tiger Woods, whether it's Michael Jackson back in the day, whether it's a Matthew Perry, that's a different level of you want to stay connected to that person. I mean, even again, in my own personal experience, I was a nobody just on local radio. My dealer loved to just say to his friends and stuff, oh, you hear the guy we're listening to and laughing about? Yeah, I just saw him 30 minutes ago at the radio station, man. That bubble and that protection and that enablement and people wanting to be around you and wanting to give you what you want leads to a very predictable outcome, and his timeline is no different. Go back to the 2009 crash and that scandal. There was already rumors of all this stuff, and then he had to go to rehab for sex addiction, and then in 2017 DUI, he admitted to being on a cocktail of drugs, man. Vicodin, Xanax, Ambien, and more. Now 2026, roll over again, pills again. So we can't keep treating this like isolated incidents. This is one continuous story with fame and money as a cocoon. it's hard to bottom out, and that's something that is key to finally getting sober, is hitting that bottom, and it's hard for somebody at that level to ever get there.
He can buy his way out of prison.
And the other big problem for him that a lot of athletes deal with is the emotional void of ascending from being a god to a mortal.
I used to be somebody. Now he's going to be nobody.
And it's not mentioned enough, man, that Icarus-like fall. I want to give you a quote. They say the athlete dies twice. Once they stop playing and once they stop actually breathing. But that first death, that's the one that haunts you because you have to spend the rest of your life as a ghost of the person that you used to be. Even at a small level, when you lose your athleticism and you lose your sport, you lose your identity. And these guys are gods, and Tiger Woods was another level of God in his sport. I don't think a lot of you understand. You might be too young, or maybe you forgot. Tiger Woods, once upon a time, was bigger than any athlete you can name. Michael Jordan, LeBron, Brady, you name it. Tiger at one point was above them. This dude was the #1 Forbes 100 top celebrity athlete 11 straight years. He was #2 for all celebrities, only to Oprah at certain points. This dude used to quadruple the Sunday ratings when he would be there in his Tiger Red, to the point that he had golf beating the NFL and the NBA Finals in television ratings. That had never happened before, and it's never happened since. In that 97 Masters, one of his first ones, he got 44 million viewers to watch golf, a.k.a. 14.1% of the entire country. We called it the Tiger effect. He was a complete phenomenon. So imagine being a god at that level, having a unique purpose that most people will never get to know or experience every single day, to be the center of everything, to now you're broken. Now you're aging. The game has moved on without you. You don't just lose the game, you lose yourself. Now for Tiger specifically, add both his parents are gone. Not just the loss of his father in 2006, but his mother was just recent in 2025. Constant relationships failing around him, isolation, public embarrassment. The jokes are starting up again. His kid, the one thing in Charlie that was kind of seeming to keep him cheered up, is getting older, man. He's got to move on and grow up and live his own life. So now you have all the pain in your body and nothing else to fill the life that was once at a level none of us can ever even imagine being at. That is a tough thing, and pun intended, a tough pill to swallow.
Everyone is gone.
So those are the parts that are unique to him. But I wanted to get to this because here's the part that I can speak on as someone else who has gone through that same addiction to the same drug, and try to help you make sense.
Doesn't make any sense. Nothing makes any sense.
That never should make sense. What you don't understand, because I see the comments and I'm reading them. The two things people say when they see a guy like Tiger roll his car again with pills in his pocket. The first one we'll get into, why doesn't he just get a driver?
You're a billionaire, bro. You can afford car service.
Why doesn't Tiger Woods just get a driver? It makes all the sense in the world. He's worth $1.5 billion. Hire a chauffeur. Have him sign an NDA. Problem solved, right? It's not that easy. A driver is a huge problem for Tiger Woods, especially if he's in active addiction. That is a very expensive risk, even if he signed or she signed an NDA.
I promise I won't tell anyone.
Try to remember, Tiger is worth $1.5 billion. Hiring a driver and have him signing an NDA is a huge risk because a lot of people do not keep the NDA, and that is a very common story for celebrities. He needs to keep a very big secret, and you have someone you barely know who has signed an agreement that has been proven to be broken.
Told them I'm ready to violate my NDA.
Just look at some of the recent examples. The Kardashians, the Beckhams know this story, and Tiger knows this story personally. He had an ex-girlfriend break an NDA, and she lost some of her money, but not all of it, for releasing that story. So he knows on a personal level that, dude, just because they say they're not going to tell anybody doesn't mean they aren't going to tell anybody, especially when I have an addiction going on and a $1.5 billion bank vault for you to be able to pick from. It is a risky thing to even have a driver, just based on the fact that he is going to have a hard time not being tempted to try to sell his story or her story and take your money.
I want $10 million.
But the bigger one that you need to understand is that that driver is also a witness and a mirror. The driver isn't just a risk. He's a witness and a mirror. When you're in active addiction, anyone outside your circle isn't just a passenger, dude. They're a judge. They're a constant reminder of what you're doing, and what you're doing is wrong.
Stop looking at me.
And I know this sounds crazy, but like when you're in it, you're only comfortable around yourself, other people doing the same thing you're doing, or the dealer/doctor. Those are really the only people you trust, because they're the people that know you. They're the ones who see the real version of you when the mask is off that you're hiding. Anyone else around you is a witness to something you can't afford to have, and you just don't want to see. You don't want to be reminded of it. And that stranger in your car with you is going to be a constant reflection of what you know is wrong. I know you just want to be isolated, left alone, or only with other people who can help you with your problem or have the same problem as you, man. It sounds silly to say it's not as simple as you think, but hiring a driver comes with a lot of complications and a lot of reminders I'm sure he did not want to deal with that I can understand.
I'm from business.
Now, the other myth, and this one is really heartbreaking. People will say this a lot. Why doesn't he just quit for his family? What kind of person is that? The myth of not loving your family enough to quit.
You love me, you would.
And we're seeing headlines now, ultimatums with his recent girlfriend, where she's saying, get clean or I'm gone. This happens with a lot of them, though. They'll crash again and again and again. And people will say, man, do you not love your family? Do you not love your kids enough? How could you pick that over that? It's just not enough to stop, man. I want to let y'all know, as someone who has been in those rooms, that has seen it personally, that's a lie.
Think I don't want to?
I have been there. I have watched it. I have seen men and women sobbing. I've seen them absolutely broken because they want to stay clean, because they want to do it for their family, because they want to do it for their kids. I have watched them absolutely break down in ways you're not supposed to see, and just heartbroken and desperate, and they want to do this because they got their family, they got their kids, they got their life on the line. And if you're a family member that has gone through something like this, I want you to know, I promise you, they meant it.
It's not your fault.
You can love someone with every fiber of your being and still be powerless, man, when that demon comes calling. They just can't do it for you. It's just not how this works. Basically, I call it the white knuckle timer. When you try to quit for someone else, you're just white knuckling it. Basically, man, you're holding your breath. You're seeing how long you can last before you have to gasp for air. It's just a countdown. So you'll do it for them, but you're holding on. You're not recovering. Recovery only starts when the white knuckling stops and you decide to do it for you.
Doing this for me.
It's really what it boils down to, because you are tired of this, because you are tired, because you can't deal with living in this skin and living in this situation for another moment, and you are willing to do anything it takes. It is not that you don't love the other people enough. It is just not enough to keep that person from the demon that will come calling. All the support in the world, $1.5 billion, and all the love of your family does not mean a thing when you're alone in a room, because when that happens, that ultimatum is outside that door. That pain and that pill is right there. So I know this isn't personal. I know that it's not that he doesn't value his kids. I know the fact that that beast has a louder voice than the people he loves, and it is not a personal thing.
It's as real as it gets.
And that's probably one of the realest things I'm ever going to tell you, man. You'll either understand that as someone who's been through it, seen it, or you won't, but you'll just have to trust me. And so I'm glad to see, at least in his statement, now it's a statement that's been released, he's saying, I am stepping away to focus on my health. This is necessary for me and my well-being. And so maybe for the first time, he stopped trying to just hold on and started trying to save himself, because if you don't do it for you, those white knuckles will eventually let go.
But that's no excuse!
Now, with all that said, this is the part I learned the hard way, and he's going to have to learn this as well, because when you're in the thick of it and you're dealing with it and you're in that rehab, you have a tendency to look at everything that's gone wrong. And I'm sure Tiger could say, it's the surgeries, it's the losses, it's the pain, and all that's real, and you have to understand you just can't live in regret and in dwelling, because it takes a long time and a lot of clarity to realize how lucky you are to be in that situation. He needs to realize the luck.
You don't understand how lucky you are.
Tiger Woods rolled a car at 87 miles per hour. He clipped another trailer when he did it. He has been found asleep at the wheel of a running engine, and he's still here. And more importantly, everyone else is too. Tiger Woods could have killed somebody.
You're lucky no one was killed.
I've been in that room too. I have seen the guilt of people that have had to say, my addiction has actually killed someone else. And he could have not just killed himself, someone else. He could have killed someone innocent, someone just driving home to take their kids from school. He could have had his own family in the car. This could have gone so much worse for Tiger Woods. So is Tiger Woods currently broken? Yes, but he still has a life that most people will never touch. He is still worth over $1 billion. He has access to the best doctors on the planet. He has a path to recovery that 99% of addicts will never see. So yes, the pain is the explanation, but it isn't a hall pass. It's time to start holding himself accountable here. Let's not act like he's out of options. He has every opportunity in the world to get this right. He just has to be the one, and at that moment, to finally take it. So he's going away for a while. The news is that Tiger's leaving the United States for, quote, intensive international treatment. And honestly, I think that's the only move he has left, man. He's in a unique dilemma where he's just too famous to try to rehab in the United States. I agree with the judge in this movement here. He needs to be somewhere where he's not Tiger, man. He's just another patient. He doesn't have to worry about paparazzi or all the nonsense and really be able to focus on himself. And the other thing, I got to mention this, please God, keep Tiger away from the phone.
You need to stay off the internet.
Ay, ay, ay. The internet is a ruthless, ruthless place, man. I sincerely hope we can keep Tiger Woods away from his phone and the stuff going on, man. They are having an absolute field day. I've seen memes of, like, Justin Timberlake as his caddy, and they're looking, instead of a green, they're trying to read the line of a street sign before he does his DUI walk. I've seen people doing the joke of, oh, Tiger Woods' video game is back, and instead of it cutting from EA Sports, it goes into a crash from Grand Theft Auto. I've seen other ones. Tiger Woods is, quote, the best and worst driver of all time.
That is what the internet was made for!
It's dark humor. I mean, it's funny. And I'm sorry, he is a public figure who has made this mistake more than once. And so I do think you are privy to that type of criticism or humor. But, man, the internet's aim is the only thing that misses less than what Tiger used to do on the 18th when everything was on the line.
This is fun.
But, I mean, behind the jokes and the memes, man, that's a man's life. That's a father, and that's a human being. And we're talking about a guy whose popularity and impact once upon a time sits on a shelf with names like Michael Jordan, Babe Ruth, and Muhammad Ali. Truly one of the greatest we have ever seen. I want you to think about the weight of that. I mean, again, 1997, 44 million people watched him win the Masters, nearly 15% of the entire U.S. population. He was so good at his sport, he spent a record 683 weeks as the world number one. To put that in perspective, the next closest is Greg Norman at 331. Tiger literally doubled the greatness of the great white shark. And man, when he played, tournament purses tripled. He didn't just play golf. He was golf. He was the sport. And so, Tiger, I really hope if anyone can get to you and you can figure this out, man, don't let the world make a joke out of you. You were something so great. Do not let the world make a joke out of you.
Don't help make a joke out of you.
Made comebacks before, but this comeback, this redemption, this isn't a golf club, man. This requires you to finally be the one who slays that beast and slays that demon. And we can sympathize why he's there, but Tiger's the only one that can rewrite that ending. And as someone who's on the other side of it, I'm telling you, it's a beautiful place, and I hope at some point you can find the same grace. I am really hoping and praying for Tiger Woods to finally get his life together.
You fight like a tiger.
All right, on a much lighter note, I want to talk about the NCAA tournament, baby. Oh, hold on. We got to cut that music off. I don't need NCAA getting on my ass and YouTube and everything. But the NCAA tournament, March Madness, it was exactly what I said happened.
I tried to tell you.
Go back to my March Madness preview, man. The NIL has killed Cinderella. I told you it was going to be all chalk. I told you the money had bought out any real surprises. NIL killed Cinderella. Look at the Final Fours, man. Number 1 Arizona versus number 1 Michigan on the men's side, and number 2 UConn versus number 3 Illinois. But let's face it, the winner between Arizona or Michigan in the Final Four game is really going to go on to be the champion. And on the women's side, all number 1s. How is anyone shocked by this? On both men and women's side, all 8 teams are spending at least $8 to $10 million in NIL money. The NIL has killed Cinderella. I told you, Cinderella would be buried in chalk, and that's exactly what happened. The money talks, and the mid-majors walk. But I have a bigger problem I want to get into.
Hate you, bad ball.
The NCAA tournament is still using that stupid-ass ball. Oh, my God. The NCAA has a big balls problem in their tournament, and it's driving me crazy. I did this segment last year, and I'm going to do it again, and I can't believe I have to say it again. They are still using that stupid Wilson NCAA Evo NXT tournament ball, and I'm getting the same complaints from the bench. I'm seeing the same bricks off the back iron, the same outcome, and I'm still seeing it sabotage the biggest games of the entire year, and it sucks.
You know, with so many balls in the air, sometimes it gets a little overwhelming.
Now, for those of you that don't know what I'm referencing, let's talk about it, man. Wilson has been the official ball of the NCAA tournament since 2002. But a few years ago, they rolled out the Evo NXT, and unfortunately just signed a massive contract extension to keep this ball through 2028. And on paper, it sounds great. It's got this technology they've called extended range tech with a super soft core. And it's the pitches that they redistributed the weight, and it's going to be able to shoot from longer distances and yada, yada, yada. But here's the reality. Once you pump this thing up with air to the tournament specs PSI, that soft core acts like a damn compressed spring.
Follow the bouncing ball.
This bitch is bouncing all over the place. It has turned everything that barely touches the rim into a launch pad, man. I'm seeing balls just fly off a normal 15-foot, 20-foot shot all the way back to the three-point line. I'm seeing guys have to dribble over their head because they have this overinflated piece of in the biggest part of the entire year, and I don't understand why they still have it. I mean, this is truly not just people whining or me noticing something. This is a physics problem. This ball is overinflated. It's inconsistent. It's like a damn hoppity hop, like Randy Marsh after he inflated his testicles.
Wow. Those guys have nice balls.
And started bouncing around the place. We have reached the point where the NCAA tournament ball has as much give as Randy Marsh's medical marijuana side effects. It's absurd. Coaches and players said, dude, that thing was a rock. That thing was bouncing all over the place, dude. It changes what is called the coefficient of restitution. That is the science of how much energy is returned on a bounce. You have now taken a precision instrument and replaced it with a balloon. And if you don't agree with me, dude, I'm sorry, you've never played. This is the one time I'm going to throw out, dude, if you think that this wasn't a big deal and it continues to be a problem, you don't know ball. Basketball is a game of inches, man. This is the equivalent of them lowering or raising the rim 1 or 2 inches at the most important moment of the kids' lives, no doubt. Also realize 99% of the kids in this tournament, this is their pinnacle. This is the highest it's ever going to get for them in their athletic life. And they spent 20 years developing touch, muscle memory, knowing just how to lay the ball off the rim or shoot it with a little bit of touch, and now this thing is ricocheting off because it's got a freaking spring in it, and they're doing it for the most watched and expensive tournament in American sports. NCAA should be embarrassed that they have done this, dude. This ball and watching it continue to affect games is a freaking joke. And I'll be a nerd about it, man. The numbers back up the eye test. Once again, the shooting is dipped. 3-point percentages in the tournament are at 32.3%, nearly 2 full points lower than regular season averages, which should make no sense because now we only have this top 68 best teams. They are somehow shooting worse than the entire NCAA combined. Think about that one. The balloon quotes are all over the place. Virginia's DeRitter straight up called the ball a balloon on national TV. Bennett Sturtz said, man, that ball was, quote, super aired up and not like the ones from the regular season. I also got quotes from Del Orso. You got Durst. You got coaches talking about it. Gino Auriemma and Nate Oates are calling the ball rock hard. Inflation levels are insane. So this isn't random complaining. This isn't me just bitching. This is universal documented feedback from the coaches and players who are in the goddamn game,
according to industry experts.
And then you got the Tyler Tanner heartbreak, which throws this even more into a whole nother level. Vandy versus Nebraska. Tyler Tanner would have had the moment of his life. 60-foot heave off the glass. That ball dropped so far through that net and then rattled out. in a 74-72 game. He would hit a game winner in the tournament from 60 feet, and he was robbed because the physics of that ball, and the physics say that ball should have gone down. Dude, there are all sorts of articles about that shot specifically. It really highlighted things where analysts and scientists did all sorts of research and articles on it. But the biggest one you need to know is the opposing coach, Fred Hoiberg, said on national television, dude, it was probably the ball.
When it left his hand, my heart sunk. You could see it was right on line as soon as he shot it. And it was just, it was crazy. I mean, that thing hit the square, and you see those shots go in. I don't know how it stayed out. Somebody said it was the overinflated balls they used in the tournament, but it was crazy.
The head coach of the opposing team admitted on national television and said, yeah, I don't know how that thing didn't go down. I'm pretty sure it was that overinflated ball.
Stupid balls are in the way.
Basketball is a game of millimeters, of touch, of feel. If a ball is even a fraction off, you change the outcome of the game, and you turn a lifetime skill now into suddenly a game of freaking Plinko. And I don't care that both teams have to play with it. Go somewhere else with that stupid excuse. Oh, well, they both have to do it. They both have to use the overinflated ball. I don't care. That's not the point. And it still benefits one or the other team more. So that excuse that I'm hearing from a lot of people, well, it's the same ball for both teams. Tell that to a team that actually has to shoot. Like, tell me it to a team that has to rely on outside shooting more than just defense and rebounding and requires more skill. That's like suddenly not acknowledging snow in a football game when a pass-heavy team struggles with it, man. That is not a good excuse. But even more importantly, this is the NCAA tournament. Billions of dollars are being spent. We just accept mediocrity. We just accept bad shooting, high turnovers, balls flying off the rim, balls bouncing above their heads because both teams have to deal with it. That doesn't make it fair. This just makes the game worse. You don't change the rim height at the Final Four. You don't move the three-point line at the national championship. So why are we changing how the ball behaves at the most important moment of these kids' entire lives? You got to cancel this contract. It's supposed to go now until 2028. NCAA, can you please stop whoring out everything?
Don't make me some money.
Can you stop whoring out the entire tournament? These kids are eventually going to have freaking tattoos of brands on their head. At least give them a decent, normally aired basketball for them to play with instead of this overinflated, giant piece of crap, Randy Marsh bouncing ball thing. Oh, my God. I would be furious. And, I mean, players said it, coaches said it. Hoiberg said, dude, it's probably the reason we were able to move on. Please get rid of the overinflated ball. They have a big ball problem, and I would like to see that squeezed.
I have one more thing to say.
All right, last one I'm going to call today here. I want to quickly talk baseball stuff.
Baseball stuff!
First of all, Major League Baseball is off to a great start, so congratulations. They continue to rise. Dodgers look unreal right now. I can't believe they were able to add both Tucker and Diaz in the offseason, and having Tucker to that lineup and then Diaz to the bullpen, shoring that up as it looks like the Dodgers could be. They're clearly the favorites, let's just put it that way.
Dodgers suck!
But there's also a lot of young stars coming in, so that's fun. Unbelievable rookie class. They got McGonigal out there in Detroit. He looks great. They got Murakami, the newest Japanese inclusion, out there in Chicago. They got Weatherholt out there in St. Louis. They got Binge doing well for the New York Mets, and walk-offs all over the place. So exciting young guys, exciting finishes, exciting teams. And speaking of walk-offs, this is the first time we've had this one. There was a walk-off by a robot.
The machines are taking over!
On April Fool's Day, no less, the joke was on a home plate umpire and the Texas Rangers, because top of the ninth, the Orioles were leading the Rangers 8-3 with 2 outs, Evan Carter at the plate, and the ump called a ball, but Orioles catcher Basallo triggered the new ABS challenge, and the Jumbotron popped up and showed that pitch clipped the zone, so strike 3, game over. It was the first ever game-ending ABS turn in MLB history. We had officially a robot-induced walk-off victory for the first time in Major League Baseball. And for those of you catching up, the ABS, what I'm talking about, is the new automated ball strike system. It's the new talk of 2026. It's kind of like the torpedo bats from last year. It's the early obsession. They have now officially made it challengeable twice a game, and for them to be able to use to overturn balls and strikes. And all we're doing is revealing the truth here, in my opinion. I mean, if you want to argue that zone is not perfect, which I've heard people complain about, it's 2D, it's da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da. That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. But for me, the reason I want to bring this up is because the Rangers and the umpires are whining about them getting the call right.
You don't care if it's wrong or if it's right.
Like, I understand losing sucks, but let's review. There was a lot of controversy after this ending that the Rangers and the umpires are complaining because they got the call right. And I mean, if there's one thing I am not going to tolerate is that anyone being mad because the correct call was made. And this is something that's not just unique to baseball, but is highlighted through baseball because it's our oldest sport. The dumbest argument of all time, in my opinion, the human error / tradition argument. It is the dumbest argument in the history of the world of sports, that the idea that it was how the game is meant to be played, that this is a human game, it should only be called by humans. If it wasn't there originally, why are we bringing this new stuff in, this new technology that is getting things correctly more often?
My position on this is pretty clear. I don't like employing technology for officiating. I think it's dumb. Games are played by people and they're governed by people, and it's good in the same way. There's going to be errors in baseball. There's going to be there's going to be errors in officiating and in umpiring. So this is too complicated to just handle with us. And these games that ultimately, yes, money is on the line. People are gambling. These guys care a lot. They are exhibitions. These are social constructs. Do we really need to use cameras and lasers and all these things to understand whether or not it's 2-2 or the guy's out? It seems dumb to me.
And my argument's always been, this goes back to when they didn't want to put in instant replay, is that, yeah, we didn't have it back then in tradition, but it wasn't like it existed and we just decided to say no. Dude, baseball was invented in 1869. Back in 1869, by the way, they had no gloves. They had no lights. They had to throw the ball underhand, and I didn't hear any of you complain like, oh, we started by throwing underhand. We started with no gloves.
I don't like change. I don't like it when things change.
Do you hear what I'm saying? Like, you are picking and choosing when you want a dumb argument to work, but you're not even consistent in when you pick it. This cartoonish idea that human error is part of the game, like, where does that logic end for you? I really want to know, like, do we go back now and throw instant replay out of the National Basketball Association? Like, do we go back to guessing whether a tennis ball is inside or outside the line now that they have that perfect system that's able to tell down to the millimeter where that ball landed? Should we go to the NFL and say, dude, pull the cameras out of the end zone. We want to go back to guessing in these tush pushes and other plays whether that ball crossed that goal line. Like where does that stop for you? If your argument is that we didn't used to have it, where does that end of why don't we just get rid of everything? Why don't we get rid of all technology that makes things better? Dude, every single sport has gotten better when we stop pretending that humans don't make mistakes and we use the modern technology at our access to get the call right.
I still don't like it.
This is, for me, is the sanctity of fairness. A ref or an umpire has one job in his life. His one job is to keep the game fair, period. The whole existence of a referee or an umpire is to keep the game fair. I mean, if you think about it, dude, if you're ever in a stadium yourself or you're watching at home and you're screaming at a referee, when you're yelling and you're cursing and you're saying things like, get off your knees, ump, you're blowing the game.
Hey up! Get off your knees! You're blowing the game!
What are you really saying? You're saying it's not fair. You're saying I'm mad. You have taken the fairness out of this arena. The only point of sports, the entire point, the only reason we care is that we've worked so hard to create a level playing field. We come up with rules where we want equal players, equal rules, equal enforcement. We want the game to be decided by the winner on the field and nothing else. And so when an umpire or a ref screws up a call, dude, it's a violation of the sanctity of what we built. It's a betrayal because the game is no longer fair. And if it isn't fair, why are we watching? So when you scream at a ref,
"Hey ref, spearing!"
what you are saying from your inside is that, damn it, you made the game I love that's supposed to be fair, not fair. How dare you? That is the whole point of a referee or an umpire. And so I want to always see who is better. I don't want it tainted by a bad call. And if ABS ensure that happens, then so freaking be it. This was needed, by the way. The idea that baseball suddenly wants to draw the line and say, oh, well, this is a lot of times just an inch here or an inch there. Bitch, this whole thing started because y'all were missing by a mile, and I got 2 words for anyone that wants to complain to me. Angel Hernandez. Remember Angel Hernandez? If you don't, go Google any Angel Hernandez. Just put Angel Hernandez low-light film, and you will be privy to a sea of videos that are like a damn horror film where this umpire, who is now, thank God, finally gone out of Major League Baseball, was known for years for missing calls left, right, front, and center. Dude, Stevie Wonder standing backwards on his head could have done a better job of finding the zone than Angel Hernandez. And, I mean, it was the reason his name became a punchline. But, dude, you don't get to cry now that the system might be missing this when for years you were missing all of this. You were missing by this much. I don't want to hear you say, well, the system could be that much or this much. This wasn't the problem. This was the problem. When you were missing by this freaking... Once again, I'll nerd out. Numbers don't lie. Since ABS has been implemented, overall accuracy is up 92.8%. It is up to almost 93%. It was just 84% in 2008 and 89% just back in 2016. And the in-game coaching that comes with this new system is actually making the umpires better simply because of the technology, not just on the challenge calls. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but in between now, every single inning, they now give the umpires a tablet, and they have to look and they have to review all the calls that they might have missed or gotten right, where it was and why. And so it's giving them real-time accountability. The threat of the challenge, the threat that the ABS system provides has dropped missed calls per game from 16 down to less than 10. Going to repeat that. Now just the threat of the challenge and having to use this new system and watch in between innings has dropped missed calls already from 16 down to less than 10. The technology is making them better.
They make us better.
And even more fun fact, challenges are only 1.4% of all pitches, meaning that for over 98% of the game, the human umpire is still the boss. The only difference is now we have a way to review a call that could be wrong and has been wrong at least over 50% of the time so far. Dude, baseball is in a resurgence because of all the additions they have made. Shout out to Commissioner Manfred and everything that Major League Baseball has done. The pace is better thanks to the pitch clock. The games are cleaner now thanks to ABS, and the ratings are showing it. Everyone likes what's happening between pitch clock, ABS, and all the new additions here, and you are somehow mad about one of the parts that continues to help it. I got here both for you. You just couldn't be more wrong. What this is really about, other than the tradition curmudgeons, which again, they're just cranky old people that just, I don't like the way things are. I can't fix them. The only other part I could say is that I think for the umpires, some of this, it's not about accuracy, it's about control. I mean, for over, 100 years, the strike zone has been what the umpires said it was, and now accountability has been put in. And I think some of it is just people in power don't like losing power. People that feel important don't like having things taken away from them. So you can say what you want. You can bitch all you want. You can say you want tradition. Cool. Tradition is all about, used to be getting the calls wrong more often and living with unfairness. Progress is getting them right. I'll take progress. I'll take ABS. I don't care that the game was walked off by a machine. It was the right call. We should try to do that all the time and continue to push forward. This is the one few time I feel, speaking of old men, I get to be progressive. So I'm going to roll with that. I love ABS. You should too. I love you, and I got to go. Don't forget, always like, subscribe, tell your friends, comment below, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Tricky Guy Sports.